Social impacts of Canada aren't just Canada's interactions with other countries, but also the people that helped build up Canada to where it is now. Firstly, I will be talking about Terry Fox. Terence Stanley Fox was an athlete, humanitarian, and a cancer research activist. He was born on July 28, 1958, in Winnipeg, Manitoba. Terry was an amazing person with a lot of strength to keep doing what he thought was important. Terry decided to run across Canada to raise awareness and money for cancer research after losing his right leg to cancer. But sadly, Terry passed away on June 28, 1981, in New Westminster, British Columbia. He was a great man that helped raise awareness for all Canadians around Canada. He will always be known as one of the greatest Canadians. There have been many encounters in Canadian history where a person of color has been discriminated against, most specifically the black citizens of Canada, but there were many that did something to prevent and to raise awareness of discrimination. Viola Desmond is an example of this. Viola was brought up with her 10 siblings, and her parents were highly regarded in the black community of Halifax. Motivation by her parents' hard work and community involvement originated her want for success and is an independent businesswoman. On the evening of November 8th, 1946, when her car broke down in a small community of New Glasgow, she was informed that the repairs on her car would take a number of hours, so she arranged for a hotel room and got movie tickets to pass time. At the Roseland Theatre, Viola asked for tickets on the main floor, but instead she got handed the tickets for the balcony. The person that was selling the tickets to her informed that the balcony seats were generally reserved for non-white viewers. Viola was troubled by the ticket taker, who explained that her ticket was for the balcony. Desmond explained that there must have been a mistake and asked for the ticket taker to exchange the ticket for the downstairs one, but was refused. The ticket taker said that they weren't allowed to sell downstairs tickets to people of color, but Desmond proceeded anyways to the main floor. We have a clip of how things might have gone when she was confronted by the manager. When she refused to leave her seat, the police were called. They dragged her out of Roseland Theatre, injuring her hip and knee, and she spent the night in jail without being told her rights and wasn't given a lawyer. In the morning, she was taken to court. Viola was charged with attempting to defraud the provincial government. Many prominent blacks in Nova Scotia took up Viola's cause and supported her. She took the case to the Supreme Court of Nova Scotia. However, the Supreme Court upheld the ruling. Eventually, the government repealed its discriminatory policies in 1954. Another person that is known for standing up for rights in Canada was Henry Morgan Taylor. Henry was an abortion advocate. He spent much of his life speaking up for women's reproductive rights in a period of time when they couldn't legally get one. Henry opened illegal abortion clinics all around Canada, challenging the government, federal and provincial. In 1967, Prime Minister Pierre Trudeau, while decriminalizing homosexuality, also decriminalized taking contraceptives and contraceptive information. In Section 251 of the Criminal Code, it allowed abortions, but they had to be approved by the hospital and could only be performed if the pregnancy posed as a threat to the woman's health or life. Henry made a huge civil rights movement for women, and they had the right to do anything with their body. Another person that put Canada on the map was Barbara Ann Scott. Barbara was a skater. She was born on March 9, 1928, in Ottawa, Ontario. At the age of 9, she started her training every day for 7 hours a day, every day of the week. After 1 year, she was the youngest Canadian to receive a gold medal in figure skating. Barbara cherished herself to Canadians in winning the St. Moritz Olympic Games figure skating in 1948. She was a Canadian senior women's champion during the years of 1944 to 1948, a North American champion from 1945 to 1948, and a European and world champion from 1947 to 1948. After winning the gold medal on February 6, 1948, Barbara was handed the Lou Marsh Trophy as Canada's Athlete of the Year. She was handed this trophy in 1946, in 1947, and in 1948. But sadly, she passed away on 30th September 2012 at Amelia Island, US. Barbara will always be known as one of the greatest figure skaters in Canada and around the world. Something in Canada that is viewed as one of the greatest theatrical festivals is the Stratford Festival. The Stratford Festival is one of the first festivals in Ontario to present classical and contemporary theatre. It came to be in 1951 by a businessman named Tom Patterson, who created a local group of people to explore ideas for an annual drama festival. Tom's motive was to find a way to save Stratford's declining economy. Eventually, he got a grant of $125 from Stratford City Council to hold festivals of classical and contemporary theatre. A group of volunteers were formed. The members included Alf Bell and his wife Dalma Bell, Harry Showalter, and Dora Mever Moore. After Patterson's plans failed, Dora asked the assistance of playwright John Coulter, who asked the English director Tyrone Guthrie to be the artistic director. Tyrone agreed to be the artistic director and to present a Shakespeare festival and attend theatre. The festival officially started on 13th July 1953 for a 6-week season, and they presented Richard III with Alec Guinness as a lead actor. They also presented other Shakespeare dramas. We aren't only talking about great people in Canada, but also some key social interactions Canada had with other countries. Canada and America's relations were great, which helped them to signing the Auto Pact. In 1964, Canada had about $600 million shortfall with the United States. Canada was producing 7% of the Canada and American output for cars, but Canada was considered to be less than 1% of US sales around that era. Canada proposed of enforcing 25% tax on imported automatic transmission. This policy would challenge US companies and they would lose business because of this scheme. In 1965, the policy came to effect, earning Canada $785 million deficits with the United States. Canadian auto production rose by 7.1% in 1965 to 11.2% by 1971. This bothered Americans. Canadians viewed this policy as a permanent, but the Americans viewed it as temporary. In 1965, Canadian vehicle exports to the US totaled 886 million, and in 1977 exports were 9.9 billion. Similarly, Canadian imports from the US grew from 1.5 billion in 1966 to 10.9 billion in 1977. The US trade surplus, which over the life of Autopact moved back and forth, the surplus grew from $601 million in 1966 to 1.1 billion in 1977. There are only some of the things that have been impacted Canada socially. Canada has had many great people and interactions in her life. All these people have done many great things to make Canada a better place for everyone to live in.